All right, how y'all doing? I'm back once again, here to talk about this book right here, Growing into God, Beginner's Guide to Christian Mysticism by John R. Mabry. I'll just put this back here, keep it. All right, well, what can I say? Basically, I've been reading a lot of religious stuff, and basically, mainly been doing like Indian, primarily Buddhist and Hindu, and I notice they basically have a monistic, which is basically that God is everything in the world. It's pretty much just like monism means one, so it's all made of the same material. So it's pretty much just like atomism. Everything's made of atoms and stuff, but instead of just scientifically, it's supernatural God. So that's what I noticed with, especially with Hinduism and stuff. Buddhism doesn't really talk about that, but it's kind of derived from going against Hinduism. And when I noticed that mysticism in general of the Abrahamic faiths, like Christianity, that's what they talk about. They talk about a God and everything. So I noticed, I was like, whoa. So basically, what's every day in India, or the East in general, you can't really say, but definitely India, is the higher up in Christianity. So that kind of, not to insult anyone, but that kind of made me feel like, oh, okay, well, automatically, Indian religions are mystical, so they're kind of higher up. But I decided, hold up, let me just go ahead on and go back, and was trying to find a lot of books, comparative religious books, if I could kind of get comparative mysticism and stuff. But a lot of the books just wanted to like kind of catalog and be an anthology of like religious works, like mystical religious works, or just religious works. And it was like, nah, I wanted you to show me the way how they are connected and stuff. And especially I wanted to easy read. That's another thing. A lot of these religious books, they are not easy reads. You have to slug through. And I just kept on looking for something just to give me just a general, overall, comparative, non-denominational, non-religious, non-sectarian, non-political thing on just mysticism, period. But not from any particular religious or denominational point of view. I really couldn't find too much of that stuff. Like I said, I would just get anthologies of just listing alleged mystical stuff or just religious stuff from different religions. But then I came across this guy. I was up in the library downtown, and I saw it, and I started reading it. It was like, oh, okay, this is easy read. And it was very informative. It broke it down, and it's like two things. It was one, there's a Christian mystic, Evelyn Underhill. I believe she lived from about 1875 to about 1941. And I got her book. It's still being printed. And she studied mysticism. She has a lot of books on mysticism. She has a general book, Mysticism. And a long time ago, in my curious mind, kind of ranging all over the place, came across the book, start reading it, and it was just unreadable. It was just too damn dense. It was opaque. We really couldn't get what the hell she was saying, so I just gave up. There was other books she had, and I tried reading them, and it just did not work. It's impossible. It's just like, what's his name? Homi Bhabka or something, the Indo-British guy who talks about the subaltern. Brilliant idea, but you just can't read them. Same thing with her and a lot of other authors. Just what the hell are they talking about? They're talking about something I'm interested in, but the work is not accessible, right? And this guy Mabry, he talks about how her book, how he just basically in his book ripped off her book, right? But then he admits that, hey, she was just a hard read. You know what I'm saying? She could barely get through it, and he admits that other people have told him, and other religious people who study religions, hard to get through her work, even though it is a seminal work. But he got through it, and he basically gave a simplified form. So, thank you for that. Really appreciate it, Mr. Mabry. You know what I'm saying? And two, not only is it easy to read, but two, he did kind of a comparative mysticism. Okay. But at the same time, it was mainly Christian and stuff. But he would, if he felt that certain things, it was better said, like, say, if you want to bring up Hinduism, like meditation, right? He brought up, Hindu meditation, and still related back to Christian prayer, which is kind of the same thing, but it was accessible. Like he brought up a lot of Buddhist stuff, especially Zen, and he was able to relate it back. It's like, he brought up Islam. He brought up, he brought up a little bit of Sikhism. I think he brought up some pagan stuff, and not just European, but like also from other indigenous paganism. I can't remember what country it was from, but yeah, it was very, he would just bring up, but he would not, because I know a lot of Christian authors will put down other faiths, but he didn't do that. And then he admits, hey, I know a lot of y'all are like, whoa, why are you bringing up Hinduism? Why are you bringing up Judaism? Why are you bringing up Islam? Why are you bringing up paganism? Because he says, hey, if they offer a better example, he's going to bring it up. He's going to use it. And I like that. He was not judgmental. And then even in Christianity, when you read a lot of Christian books, it's either going to be pro-Catholic, pro-Protestant, or pro-Eastern Orthodox. And a lot of times they'll be pro-sub-denomination, micro-atomic denomination up in there to you just, so he didn't do that there. So he didn't even really split up Christianity, but he respected each denomination. And then just like he respected each religion and then he also did comparative, because I've been looking for a book to compare the different denominations of Christianity. He did a denominational comparativism, just like he did comparative religion. He did comparative Christian denominationalism, and I like that. So hopefully he has another book I can read on that. But yeah, so enough of me praising. Basically it was an introduction. He goes through like the different stages. Let me look here up in the thing. Basically there's 4 stages. Basically there's awakening, where you are, kind of, you find out that, hey, God is everywhere in the world, you get that monistic view. Purgation, where you like that's where he comes in with Buddhism, because like Buddhism kind of like disparages concepts and tells you to get out of your own mind. And that's what he's talking about, breaking down like your assumed culture or concepts from the culture that you have. You have to break that down and push that out your mind. You know what I'm saying? You have to purge. You have to empty yourself, all of that, right? In order to let, God in. You know what I'm saying? Or God's, whichever one. Then he talks about the transition, which is dark night of the senses. Some people, it's been called dark night of the soul. But basically, your senses become more aware. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the same way you're awakening when you realize that, God is everywhere. Well, then your senses become better. You become more acute, and you can see it everywhere. Everywhere you can taste it here. That's just more of a deepening of your awakening, and that's possible because you purge, because you got the mind stuff out. So not only is your senses, but then your mind is even processing even better that God is all over the place. Then you have illumination. Illumination is just like you seeing God everywhere, because now you're aware of it in awakening. You purged of it. All your ideas that's blocking you, that's blinding you, is gone. Transition, dark night in the sense is where you transform and become more aware. So now you can see because everything is illuminated. Basically, you were in darkness, now you're in light. That's kind of thing. So, the illumination, you see God everywhere, And then union, which is basically you, because it's you merging into God and stuff, not God merging. Well, he kind of gets ambiguous, but like kind of God merges in you, or both of y'all merge together, but it's basically union, basically because you see that God is everywhere, that it's not just like Hinduism, like Vedanta, which means they basically talk about not to. You know what I'm saying? And Vedanta, Hinduism, it's monistic. Everything is made of the same material. So then you stop seeing differentiation between you and other people and material possessions and animal and air. You realize it's all God. So that's what union is. You start seeing that you and God and everything else is one. That's existence. Everything in existence, the whole universe, is the same as God. God and one. They're synonymous. You know what I'm saying? And that was really, and he goes a little bit further into it, and that's kind of breaking it down. And I like also the fact that he brings up authors who, let me kind of go so I can be, he basically brings in different people who label it differently instead of the 4 stages that he talks about. Like he goes with this guy named Fowler. Let me see what his Fowler. James Fowler. Basically, this book, Stages of Faith, and he basically kind of like it's the same thing, but then instead of like 4 phases of awakening, purgation, illumination, and union, he basically has 6 stages, which are basically he has a 0 stage, which is like primal and differentiated faith. Stage 1, intuitive reflective faith. Mythic literal faith, synthetic conventional faith. I won't go into that because it just goes a little bit more into like kind of how you believe and stuff like that. But then stage 4, individual reflective faith. That's just like awakening. Okay. Stage 4, individual reflective faith also goes, it's spread across from awakening to purgation. All right, then stage 5, conjunctive faith, that's the equivalent to illumination. And then stage 6, universalizing faith, which is equivalent to union. All right, so he kind of gives you like the basic classical 4 stage, but then he goes into another, other people who relabeled it, then, which is in the appendix B. Then another appendix, he kind of breaks it down even further when he like gives examples from literature over the years and stuff from all the different denominations of Christianity, examples of, mysticism. But then what I like here is the fact that, sorry, I'm going to have to go to the contents again. Basically, he just doesn't, talk about it. Let me just give you a little bit of a screenshot, right? After that, he kind of, he has stuff that helps you out, that goes a little further. And see, I didn't read it straight through. I kind of jumped apart because I would read whatever the stage was. And then he had this section where he had questions and answers, where he would go even further. And these are question and answers because I was teaching. He had a lot of questions, so he based it off of that. And then he went there. So I would go there. After like awakening, then I would go question and answer section awakening to find out, go a little bit further because I did. And a lot of the questions lined up with what I wanted to go further to. And, his notes didn't really help me with. And then he had a section called Mystics in Their Own Words, where mystics from across time and Christianity would talk about. They would give their, stuff. And I really liked it because it surprised me because a lot of people they'll run all over the place, but he'll do what a lot of people do in anthologies. He'll have this mystic and then he'll have a series of quotes right? Which is what people usually do when they do with literature. But here, I like his thing where he put the mystics, various quotes from the same mystic together. Because when you kind of jump all around the place and stuff, quoting people, it doesn't really work. I've seen that, in their own words or quotes from people, quote section from books. But here it actually works when I mean, the first part where he would put several mystic quotes, because then you kind of see it would deepen as you would read. I mean, it wouldn't be a lot. It'd usually be like 2 to 4 and stuff, but it would deepen as you would read and stuff. And then you can kind of get a timeline of as they went along. So that really also deepened the understanding. You know what I'm saying? And then he had a section called spiritual practices, where when he showed what you could do and how mystics in the past, their method of going for each stage, which is practice. You have theory and then you have practice. And I like that. So that's the reason why I kind of jumped around, where I went from a chapter of a stage, then I went to Q&A, and then I went to mystics in their own word, and then I went to spiritual practices. So that really helped me. If you want to read all the way through, that's good, but I really wanted to get in depth. I really didn't care to go over stuff again. You know what I'm saying? Which does work for some people, if you want to do that, if you want to just go straight through. But me, I knew I wanted to really, instead of like splitting it apart, and basically that was cyclical. I really didn't want to do it cyclical. I just wanted to just kind of just get it all in one thing. So that's just me, so that's why I'm particularly do what you want to do. And then, like I said, the Appendix A, the Mystic's Journey in Liturgy and Tradition, how that, how he illustrated how it's, been recorded and stuff. But then especially in the tradition part, because then he showed how the weekly ritual where you go to church and stuff, and then certain rituals during certain times of the year, certain holidays and stuff like Advent, Lent, Passover, other stuff. I can't really remember all of them, but the little ceremonies that you do at the same time every year. He shows how that is based upon the mystic journey, which even gave me more of an understanding, how religions are basically founded on and based on the mystics. You know what I'm saying? That the people who founded them and people who expand on them and give a better depth, and are the mystics and the leaders and stuff, how the raw material that faiths are based upon, and where they come from, and how they inform the religion. And then as time goes on, how mystics give more depth to a religion. So that was really good. You know what I'm saying? Because here we are, just going to church and we just think we're doing mundane stuff. But no, this is based on mysticism. It's trying to help you get a further in-depth understanding of the religion. You know what I'm saying? Stuff from everyday rituals that you do when you're in church or whatever, and then how yearly rituals, which go even more. It's like, okay, that's just not, that holiday basically imitates this stage. You know what I'm saying? Of mysticism. So that really helped me. You know what I'm saying? Then, like I said, Mystic's Journey and Spiritual Development, that kind of, like I said, both of them went into a little bit more of kind of like the not really a historiography, but like kind of went into like different people who studied, mysticism and stuff. Even though that's kind of spread out a little bit more throughout the book, he'll quote somebody and be like, oh, from this person who studied mysticism book. And then, there is a certain section, I believe, in one of the appendixes where he kind of lists off about 6 people and gives a couple of their books. titles and stuff. So yeah, this book right here. You know what I'm saying? If you are really into mysticism and you like me, you've been looking for a good book to basically introduce you. That's a good book. I've been looking for stuff that is non-religious, just kind of from a bird's eye view, yet comparatively will grab from this source to grab from that source. Really haven't found it, but looks like Mabry's book is the closest thing. And then it's really readable and stuff. And then it gives you references that you can later go ahead on and further and read their stuff. And then some of his stuff, like he has this book up in here, I forgot what it's called. It's called Faith Styles. Faith Styles, Ways People Believe. Okay. And basically I read up on that, and basically it's about the different ways people are religious. You know, some people are dogmatic, some people are break the rules, some people are syncretic. Syncretic means combining religious faiths. They combined some type of method from this one to that. Like there are a lot of people who are Christian and who are Christian Buddhists. You know, they adopt a philosophy to Christianity. And then there are a lot of people who meditate. Most people in the Abrahamic faiths, they tend to pray. And in the East, they tend to meditate. You do have a lot of Jews, Christians who meditate, just like they do in the East. Talks about that. So, yeah, this book was very informative. It was an easy read. It broke it down in simple language I could understand. It gave examples from not only Christian religion, but also other religions. So it was comparative religious or comparative mystic. He doesn't put down other religions or other denominations. And, he gives you references and stuff. So, whether you're Christian or not, if you're curious about mysticism, that's a great book to start at. I'm gonna still look for like books that are as easy as that. But if I find them, I'll read them and I'll give y'all too. I've been thinking about, since I read this book, because he did encourage me to, go find Evelyn Hill's book. I probably will and give it a try. There's no guarantee I'll do that because it was so opaque. But now I've been reading a lot of religions lately, mainly in the East. But, I've been reading more religion, more philosophy, more ideology. And so maybe, especially now I'm more well-read because that was a long time ago when I was a kid. And now that I have his book, which is based on an Evelyn Underhill book, I may revisit that and stuff, as well as read his other books, Faith Styles, and some of the other people he recommended that did studies on mysticism, and just keep on reading, deepen my understanding of faith, because, I believe it's an ideology just like any other one, just like a philosophy or political philosophy or identity philosophy. It's ideology. They're all ideologies to me. And this book helped me understand certain aspect, mysticism of religion, which is ideology within ideology. And I'm going to keep on reading. And I probably will. There's a couple of books I revisited over the years I found real good. Like Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. I really like that. And this is probably another book I'll be revisiting over the years and stuff. Because it was just so informative, so easy to read, and led me to other books. And yeah. So, highly recommend it. So, all right.